Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss the reaction to Liz Truss's bizarre legal threats against Keir Starmer for saying she crashed the economy, and we've got reaction from both Starmer and her former chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng. Both seemed a little bit confused about why she would do such a stupid thing, although I think Keir Starmer probably welcomes it anyway. Mind you, could he have taken fuller advantage? I know he says he's not into performative politics, but it is very useful for taking control of the news cycle. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. So, after Liz Truss sent Keir Starmer a formal cease and desist letter over claims she crashed the economy, journalists inevitably asked Keir Starmer, or at least his spokesperson, what he thought of it. But LBC also interviewed Kwasi Kwarteng about it, and he was as confused as hell. But Starmer first, because the general gist to the question of, will Keir Starmer stop saying Liz Truss crashed the economy, it was basically, no. In fact, Labour made some use out of the episode when a cabinet minister, I think it was Lucy Powell, if I remember rightly, brought the issue up in Parliament and repeated the line that Liz Truss crashed the economy. Now, Liz Truss cannot sue any MP for what they say in Parliament. You know, parliamentary privilege protects them. But I think the inference is that they're going to carry on saying it in campaigns out amongst the public as well, where they feel the need. Although, as Liz Truss is no longer an MP, they were probably not planning on saying it that much in the future anyway. So Truss has just raised the profile on her own incompetence here by bringing it up. But I am going to say this, and it is only slightly tongue-in-cheek, because I think the more I think about it, the more I think actually it might have genuinely worked. See, what Keir Starmer could have done, let's say in response to this, instead of letting his spokesperson handle it, let's say, I tell you what, we'll have a press conference. He organises a brief press conference, walks out to the assembled journalists and say, look, before taking questions, I'd like to make a short statement. Liz Truss crashed the economy. Okay, I'll take some questions now. Not only would it have been funny, childish, yes, but funny, but it might actually have made a few headlines. And what would those headlines be about? Ultimately, Liz Truss's economic damage and the fact Starmer is more than happy to dare her to sue him. And when she fails, because I don't think she's really got her legs to stand on, Starmer will be able to say there is no legal reason why he can't carry on saying it. Because at the moment, Liz Truss is trying to say, no, I didn't crash the economy. And even to be fair, economists are saying, well, it's not really true to say that. Because like I said, as far as economists are concerned, the economy's like GDP, and GDP didn't crash. The pound crashed. But like I've also said before, technically, if you look up the definition of the economy, it is literally just the system we use to trade, and we use our currency to trade. And therefore, if you crash the currency, you can say you've crashed the economy, right? Even though economists wouldn't say it, right? But the important thing is, it would shift some of the news cycle back into Labour's favour. Like, we talk a lot about dead cats. You know, so many times, like, the government come out and we call it a dead cat when they come out with something that captures the headlines to cover up something else that the newspapers might ordinarily have talked about. The concept of a government or their staff doing or saying something that is going to be more clickbaity than the story of the day as a deliberate way of capturing the news cycle. Now, Starmer says he doesn't go in for performative politics, which, you know, is laudable in a sense, and is maybe why we haven't seen a single example of Labour using the trick yet. But the reason past governments have done it is because, you know, it works. There is an element of performance about politics. The idea is supposed to be that you give boring answers to questions you don't want the media talking about. So anything they're doing with the EU, oh yeah, let me go through all the technical details. Here are some graphs and here are some equations, and all the journalists will just leave the room. And then you give exciting answers to the ones you don't mind, like a fight between the Prime Minister and a former Prime Minister. I mean, that's newsworthy. Like, actively encourage that. I keep saying, the public are sick of hearing about the £22 billion black hole now. It's become the new "my dad was a toolmaker." But there's endless scope for entertainment in bringing up Liz Truss's ill-fated time as Prime Minister. They should use that more. But then Nick Ferrari on LBC interviewed Kwasi Kwarteng about what he thought of Truss's legal letter. Now, Kwarteng certainly didn't think it was a genuine attempt to use the law. He also brought up the idea of parliamentary privilege, although I don't think that is particularly relevant. Various figures in Labour have used the line outside Parliament and presumably are happy to do so again. it was put to Kwarteng that Truss has just embarrassed herself. And his response, fairly, flailing response really, was that it might be for publicity. Now, here's the thing. Yes, there's this saying, no such thing as bad publicity, but I'm pretty sure that's just for marketing. I don't think it's the case for politics. I mean, I just discussed the concept of dead cats. They exist because politically aware politicians and their advisors know there absolutely is such a thing as bad publicity. And if it pops its head up, you want to replace it with something else with all haste. And I'll tell you what I think. I think Liz Truss is away with the fairies. I think she's been living in a fantasy world created by her handlers at the IEA for some years now. So a bit like when judging the actions and statements of people like Boris Johnson, Donald Trump, Elon Musk, others like that, you can't always, in trying to work out why they're doing a thing, you can't always draw accurate lines with anchors to the real world. To understand them, I think you have to work within their own internal Narnia. Liz Truss probably believes in the Laffer curve and trickle-down economics. She probably believes that her budget, had it been supported to completion, because she'll say, well, it was never implemented. True. So she may believe that had it been so, it would have led to economic growth. Now, if you believe this, then of course you don't believe you crashed the economy or even caused any economic damage worth talking about. In terms of the actual impacts, she may have just thought about it as, well, you can't make an omelette without breaking eggs. And of course, if you don't believe you crashed the economy, then of course you're going to believe it's both unfair and untrue of people to say that. And when you think that certain people are saying it, like the Labour leader, and that contributed to you losing your parliamentary seat, then presumably you think that the conditions for defamation have been met. You think you have been lied about and in a way that has caused you material harm. And I think it's as simple as that. Kwarteng's fumbling here, trying to come out with some reasoning that is based on the assumption Truss lives in the real world. Because in the real world, she has no case here. So he's thinking, well, there must be some other motive for doing what she's doing. She's been constantly trying to maintain a public profile since leaving office, whether it be the visit to Taiwan to moon China or appearing with Steve Bannon to stoke racial hatred. She's doing whatever she can to get herself in the news. So Kwarteng seems to think this is just the latest case of her doing and saying whatever she thinks makes her worthy of reporting on. But it could just be that she thinks she's been wronged, has absolutely no shame for all the people whose pension pot she permanently wrecked, and thinks that people really should stop attacking her for the economic damage which she did, which she doesn't think she did. In which case, unless she is strongly advised against doing so by the people she trusts, maybe there's a good chance that she pursues legal action the next time Keir Starmer says she crashed the economy outside of the Palace of Westminster, which surely is all the more reason why Starmer should have carried out that press conference, elbow Elon Musk out of the news, get some column inches dedicated to the damage the Tories did. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for listening, and until next time, I'll see you later.